Shalom, everyone. Boker Tov, Rabbi Eric Solomon, Raleigh, North Carolina. Quick morning Torah. This week's Torah portion, Vayera from Genesis, has many famous stories, but one that I want to focus on is the one of Sodom and Amorah, Sodom and Gomorrah. There's a lot of misunderstanding about the story of Sodom, and I'm not going to just focus on this Shabbat. There's a fantastic book written by Rabbi Steve Greenberg, really explains it beautifully, that the main focus is really about issues of hospitality. And Sodom was, what made Sodom and Gomorrah such evil cities is their inability to accept new people. But I don't want to focus on that per se. I want to talk a little bit about Abraham, right? What makes Abraham great? One of the classic questions that we ask in our tradition. Why was Abraham chosen? What was special about him? Why did God say, Abraham, you be the first one to follow me, Adonai, Yod He Vav He? Because the Torah is not particularly clear on the issue. We get the story of Sodom and Gomorrah brings one of the powerful ideas to light very early in the whole Torah. What's the story? Many of you know it. Abraham, he has a nephew Lot in the city, Sodom, and next door to Gomorrah, these places that seem to be evil or have bad things going on. And God says, I have to reveal to Avraham, what I'm going to do. I'm going to destroy these cities. And Avraham, not knowing the cities, having very little connection with them, except a little perhaps with his nephew, just based on that alone, negotiates with God on their behalf, basically gives them the benefit of the doubt. Doesn't say to God, they're perfect. Doesn't say to them, I think God, Abraham accepts that there's going to be some consequences here, but says to God, look, if I can find 50 people that are righteous, tzaddikim, please, you wouldn't destroy a city based on 50 people. And if you know the story, God says, okay, and goes on. Well, how about 45? Could I find 45? And he goes all the way down to a minion, to 10. Or finally, Abraham says, listen, God, if I can find 10 righteous people, you wouldn't destroy a whole city or two cities based on 10 righteous people. And then there's a pause in the story at the end of Genesis 18, and in Genesis 19, we get more detail on what's wrong with the city. Again, I'm going to skip past it here just for the sake of time. And in the end, God can't even find 10. As I'm calling, can't find 10 votes, and decides to destroy the cities. And the key issue here, after Abraham negotiates with God, essentially argues with God, which is the beginning of that powerful modeling in the Torah. What makes Abraham great? Not that he accepts what God says blindly, but is willing to struggle and negotiate already as a model of kind of Jewish God belief and God relationship is not one of just automatic acceptance. It's an engagement. Not only that, Abraham's willing to fight and defend a city or other people that he's not even related to that are vulnerable, even when some of them are not good people, just for the sake of a small group of good people. So he's willing to put himself out there for what we say for the vulnerable. Another reason why Abraham is great. But the other piece is that eventually when God decides to destroy the two cities, Abraham, it actually says he brought fire like in brimstone down on the cities. In a famous moment where, Lot's wife looks back. They're told not to look back. And Lot's wife looks back and she's turned to a pillar of salt. That's another part of the story. Abraham is silent. Abraham accepts it. Early in the Torah we learn, and this actually starts the Garden of Eden, that life is going to be filled with moments where we put our necks out. We put our necks out for people we know and even people we may not know. We take a risk to do what we believe in, to try to achieve whatever our dreams are. And we're going to lose. It's not going to work out, even with our best effort. Now, what Abraham could have done is he could have said, the next passage is, and because Abraham's great relationship with God, could have said, those people are terrible anyway, they're losers, who cares, and put them down, or even attack God, because Abraham had a pretty strong relationship, because God, you're accused of God of being unjust, or, wrong, or whatever, even respectfully. Or could have attacked the process. Well, I said 10, but you didn't let me find 10. Abraham. And what the Torah is teaching us here is that when we don't get our way, when we lose, we're going to learn and reveal and develop our character actually more than when we win. Winning is great. Getting what you want is great. If Abraham would have found 10 righteous people, I'm sure he would have celebrated. And the Torah would have, I'm sure, honored that. But the Torah is teaching us that many times in life we're going to put ourselves out for people. Sometimes they're going to let us down. And sometimes what we want isn't going to happen. And how do we deal with it? And the word I put here in the title is to be a mensch. A mensch is a Yiddish word for, literally means human being. But to be a mensch is to reveal oneself, not just in how you win, although that's also important, but in how you lose. In how you lose in your quiet, in your respect, in the way you honor. You don't desecrate God or the process. Speaks a lot about who you are and how you're going to deal with life. Right now, sadly, the president is discrediting the process, democracy. There are many things I find that troubling, deeply troubling. But what's most troubling is that there are people, Americans, for example, members of the military, whose ballots may still be coming in, that he's discrediting by the fact that they came through the mail, that are counted later according to law. To be a mensch is not to burn down the house. Abraham didn't do that. To be a mensch is to accept, to learn, and to model, and to show our children what it means to accept things that we don't like in the world, and to see that as an opportunity to grow. If Abraham would have discredited the process, essentially Abraham would be discrediting God and making Abraham more important than God. Right now, the president is making himself more important than democracy. And that might be the ultimate sin. How we lose, we don't get our votes, teaches us about how we will be as human beings when the votes are all over. I pray the president turns from his ways. I pray that our country is able to, whatever happens the next couple of days, to find a way to heal, and all those that lost and all those that won, I pray will be like mensches like Abraham. Quiet, loving, ready to move forward. Wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom, peaceful, healthy Shabbat and weekend, and stay safe. Sei gesund.